Thank you and welcome to Thursday's edition of Look North.
Tonight, the price of care. The husband fearing his wife may end up in a nursing home after financial help for her is cut. We hear their plight, but could others face similar heartache?
Also tonight, a trip to the palace. We're with Jessica Ennis and Nicola Adams as they're honoured by the Queen after their phenomenal Olympic success.
Me being here today just shows what you can do with a bit of determination and, you know, a bit of hard work. You can achieve any dream you want to achieve.
Also this evening, and ready for a makeover on a grand scale.
We take an exclusive look behind the doors of one of Europe's biggest country houses.
Well, it's been another glorious day. This is Blackley outside Elland in West Yorkshire, but how long will the fine weather last? Join me later in the programme.
Hello, good evening. A former teacher fears that he may be forced to put his wife into a home after the government cut the amount of home care that she's entitled to.
Judy Archer is severely disabled after suffering a brain hemorrhage. While her husband was working, they received funding for a full-time carer. When he took early retirement, despite the fact his income dropped by half, funding was reduced. Our correspondent Danny Houston has this report from Bradford.
Judy used to be a teacher. Now she struggles with the most basic tasks. 18 years ago, she suffered a massive brain bleed, which left her needing round-the-clock care. Once their children were grown, her husband decided to bring her home, slashing the overall cost of her care to the taxpayer by 2/3. But now a little-known clause in the Independent Living Fund has meant that funding for her care has halved, and Kevin knows he can't manage to look after her by himself.
Many people in Judy's situation, as indeed Judy was, are in a nursing home and need that level of care. What we've done here, because it's best for Judy and it's because it's best for what we wanted to do as a family, is to look after her in her own home in a domestic situation. But to do that entirely on your own without the care package we put in would be, well, extremely hard.
Effectively, when Kevin worked, his salary was not included in the means assessment. But when he started drawing a pension, even though his income dropped by over 50%, they were no longer entitled to the fund.
A spokesman for the Independent Living Fund said this isn't a new decision, that they've always taken pensionable pay into account when means testing. But care providers and social workers involved in this case say they've been gobsmacked by the decision and have never come across it before.
A recent assessment stated Judy's condition had not changed. Her care from the local authority has stayed the same, as they don't include a spouse's pension in their calculations. So Kevin is faced with some difficult choices.
There are several scenarios that could arise from that. The one is that I'm going to have to generate income, but the others would involve losing the level of care Judy has, losing the relationship that she has here with her carer. And really the care package that we worked so hard to put together is being dismantled.
He can't bring himself to talk about the final option of putting Judy back into a home. Now, changes are already underway and the Independent Living Fund is being wound up. The Department for Work and Pensions is promising a simple and fair system for the future that gives disabled people more control. But control is the one thing the Archers feel is slipping through their fingers. Danny Houston, BBC Look North, Bradford.
Well, joining me now is Anna Jackson from the Yorkshire charity The Carers Resource, which helps more than 15,000 carers in the region. Is it harsh to say that because he's retired, he should look after his wife?
I don't think it's harsh to say, and I think actually he intends to. He's fought very, very hard to get his wife out of the care home where she was for 9 years because he believes she will be happier at home and it's better for all of them. So he is more than prepared and happy to provide some care. I think the argument really is, can anybody be expected to do 24/7 care without some help?
There's a logic here that is difficult to understand in one sense, because he's already saved the government, the state, many thousands of pounds by caring for his wife at home. So why don't people apply logic and try and help him in that regard?
That's a very difficult question. I think basically people know that there is no money out there. I mean, this decision, there used to be a discretionary element to the decision that they've taken, and that was reversed in 2011, and that's why all of these issues are now being coming to the surface and being implemented. Because
so it's all about the cuts, effectively.
It is. That's what it's coming to. We all know that there is no money out there, but it is about looking to the future and taking that logical approach, which says that if we don't support carers now, we will have a much greater problem going forward, because they will need care themselves, and the person they're looking after may have to go, as Kevin said, back into care.
And your organisation looks after many, many thousands of carers. Do you know how many people might be affected by this kind of scenario?
We don't, and that's something we're very, very interested in, because this situation is just now coming to light with this discretionary waiver having gone in 2011. We'd really like to hear from anybody who is finding it difficult generally to help, but actually who's been affected by similar situations, as in their funding's been cut and they just don't know where to turn for help and support.
Anna, thank you very much indeed for joining us tonight. I'm sure many of our viewers will have a view about that.